Hello, everybody. This is Matt, also known as Mass Crouton, with the Southern Magic Twitch page. This is episode 0 of our podcast. And I, as I said, I'm Matt, and everyone else can introduce themselves as well.
My name is Will Hargett. I go by Hargett618 on Twitch. Just a little bit about me. I've been playing Magic for about 10 years. Jesus. Yeah, 10 years. No, 11. Yeah, 11 years. I need a new hobby. 11 years now playing Magic. Been playing casually in 2012 and then moved to playing competitive around 2017, 2018.
I'm have also been playing Magic for 10 years as well. I think you and I actually started around the same period of time.
Yep, we started around the same time. You got into competitive a little bit. You started competitive a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
A while before I did, but we take breaks, we do all this stuff, and
Yep. I'm Josh. Josh, the intern here at Southern MTG Enterprises Corporation, the unpaid variety of interns. I started playing, I believe, in 2011. I believe because it was Innistrad block, original Innistrad. That was my first one. Kind of got into competitive Magic around 2016, I believe. But I've been playing Magic for about definitely over 10 years. I mean, it's unbelievable. Kind of like how they said, time definitely flies, and yeah, it's crazy. I've made it this far, but yeah, Magic's been a better part of my life for the past decade now.
All right, excellent, cool. Yeah, so we're kind of like all in the same camp, like about the same length almost of how long we've been playing. So the what we want to do with this podcast is Magic is I mean, we have all seen the evolution of it and how in the past several years, I would say probably around maybe since like 2020, 2019, it's just almost become a completely different game. Like it's always evolving. There's new news coming out every single week, something dropping, and it's overwhelming. I feel like it can be overwhelming for the casual enjoyer or somebody just getting into competitive Magic to keep up with everything. Like if I was new to the game or trying to get into the competitive scene, I would just throw my hands up and just say I can't deal with this. So our goal, what we would like to do, is to every week give our listeners a snapshot, like a picture of where the game is at, and go over anything relevant that's happened in the past week. So that includes spoilers of the upcoming sets, any secret layers, which that might even be the most heavy thing that we'll cover because there's so many of those. Deck dumps from like MTGO challenges or any relevant tournaments that have happened. Any We'd like to do interviews as well with grinders and pros, any that would like to come on and speak with us. Overviews and guides of decks, just anything competitive we would like to touch on in some capacity. And also we'll probably get into some funny stories because anyone who's been playing as long as we have, and travel quite a bit, you amass a lot of really funny and interesting stories. So those are always fun.
To add on to that, Matt, I just think that to the viewers in the future, if you're watching this in retrospect, because I have no idea where this channel is going to take us. I don't know, but I have a really good feeling, and the reason I have a really good feeling is because although you may not know us personally, I feel like I know a lot of our members at Southern Magic very well. And the one thing that I love about this group is we're all unique, but we all have so many different unique experiences with the game as well. And I believe that combination of differing personalities, unique perspectives, there's got to be something there. And that's why I'm so excited, because And also to kind of segue into the next part, it's the Birmingham Magic scene is such a unique spot. In Magic and in competitive Magic specifically, there are certain sections of the United States that people look at. Obviously, Atlanta is a hotbed for competitive Magic. The far west coast is really that's where Channel Fireball is. East Coast is obviously that Star City, and then you have the Midwest, which is NRG. And I know those are like huge companies, but in terms of where Magic players are, the competitive scene, they're all there. But when you think of competitive Magic players and where they're from, for some reason Alabama is not one that you necessarily think of. But I mean, we've had constant players come from Alabama and be really good. Todd Anderson's really good. Drake Sasser's really good. Jerry Thompson spent a lot of time in Alabama for a long time, and countless other SCG grinders. So I think
too, yeah, just
yeah,
add on
Chihoy. Oh my
Chihoy's.
God, he was a world beater back then. I mean, he was making the finals of the Invitationals.
He
The
won like 2.
Invitationals. Yeah. So it's like, oh my God, he's just retired. He's Magic's below him at this point. But the Birmingham, not even Birmingham, just Alabama as a whole is such a really good and underrated spot for competitive Magic. And Birmingham in particular is also is the one that I've grown to appreciate the most because we're constantly playing.
That is a good point to say. Like the Southeast in general, I do think is a hotbed for Magic and Magic talent. Um, because yeah, a long time ago, and I guess it's still this case. Like a lot of the really good, really high level pros came from like the Midwest. Like I know Wisconsin was like a hotbed for
Yeah.
Magic pros. But yeah, no, it's kind of like a unspoken secret or something that Atlanta, Birmingham, Tennessee, there's like a lot of really good players down here. So I think that having Southern Magic to give kind of represent the southeast area of Magic, competitive Magic is really good for all the reasons that you said as well.
I know that Magic for me personally has affected my life, and to say I love the game is really putting it lightly. I mean, this game I used to. It's David Blaine had a really good quote, and I think it's much akin to Magic, where he said, "I used to take a deck of cards with me everywhere I went when I was a kid, but I never thought that those cards would take me all across the world." And Magic's kind of done that to me in a way. Obviously, not the world. I mean, I've never left the United States, but in terms of where I've traveled, it was because of a card game. It wasn't necessarily for a football game. A college football game wasn't to necessarily see relatives from across state. It was a card game, and I know just it's affected me in so many different ways, so many positive ways. And I really wanted to get your guys' thoughts on how your love for Magic and how it's affected your life.
No, I agree with you. Car, yeah, the car game is crazy. The game is fun, but really the experiences that I've had is really what I remember when I think of Magic. A lot of my motivation to actually get better and do better in this game is because of the traveling. I mean, that's part of the reason why I was really trying to do well at the RC. It's because I have a friend that lives over in Denver, and I'm like, well, I want to do well so I can go visit her. So I did. So that was part of my motivation to do that. But like, getting to visit all these cool places. I mean, just this year, I mean, we're going to be going to Pittsburgh. We've been to Dallas, various places around the Southeast, St. Louis, just to name a few of them, just to play this stupid card game.
The if there was not a if the social element was not so ingrained into Magic, I don't know if I would even still be in it, to be perfectly honest. Like I love the game. Like, as I said, it's I ever since I was in high school, into some capacity, I was always playing Magic. When I kind of took breaks from competitive Magic and more focused on Commander, I was still playing Magic. most of my friends, basically almost my entire friend group, I have found through Magic. I've seen most of the places outside of Alabama because of Magic. It was like it was always it was the catalyst to a lot of my social developments as a teenager and as an adult, and also the reason why I've been able to see so much is just because not necessarily because I was winning or being a pro at it or anything, but because we had a group of guys that just wanted to go play in a tournament somewhere, and we'd always find a way to make it happen. And it is a special thing. It's really cool, and it's really special that you get to have that.
And you touched on it just then, and I think it's so important that we establish this now, and that is we're not professionals. This is out of pure love for the game. And you may have heard some of us, you may recognize some of us. I know Will, for example, is a judge, and he travels a lot. He's made a lot of connections with people. But a lot of us, you may hear Josh Bearden, who, and unless you're like maybe from the Huntsville area, like, oh yeah, the Death and Taxes guy,
Mm-hmm.
But I want to get that out of the way. We're not professionals. We're not pros. We're just a bunch of friends who really love the game, who love each other, and want to produce content for you guys, because what we put out there and what we have planned, I think, can be very can leave a big impact on the Magic community. But we are not pros. We will punt. I'm streaming on Monday, October the 2nd. You will see that. I guarantee it. But we're pretty good. I'm not to toot our own horn. A lot of our players were pretty solid. And like I said, I'd hope so. After playing for 10 years, I'd hope so. But in terms of going on the Pro Tour, in terms of going to the World Championship, currently, no.
Well, it's that weird middle ground, right? It's you're not. I don't think any of us are pros, but certainly, I would think, or I know that all of the members of Southern Magic, are going to be better than Joe Schmo off the street. Like we have every member has won something of note, of value, and demonstrates all the facets of a really good Magic player, just continuously improving, learning decks inside and out, and grinding tournaments. Like, we're all grinders, I think, is probably the best way to put it. The fact that we are not exactly professionals, I feel like that makes us more approachable to speak to, because we know, the struggles.
We are the viewers. We are the viewers. We are you guys watching this later. We are you people, because we go through, and not to say the pros don't go through struggles. Of course they do. We all go through struggles in life, but we all have jobs. Our job is not Magic the Gathering. Our job is we go to work, and after we come to work, we do this. I feel like this would be a good time to talk about at least one funny story that we've had, because I know we kind of touched on, we've been playing for 10 years. And I can start off with one funny story. So I was playing blue-white control at a 1K in Oxford.
Stop playing blue-white control.
Yeah, but in modern,
all of these stories begin with, so I was playing blue-white control.
Yeah, so more on the story, don't do that to yourself.
Yeah.
But also, don't be a goober like me, because I was playing against Murktide. And granted, this player's very good. They've won multiple RCQs. And basically, if we win, because we're both 3-0, if we win, we're 4-0, we just ID, move on to the elimination rounds. And in game 2, I don't remember what spell he cast. I think he cast like a Murktide or something like that. And I cast Counterspell. I had 2 mana open and cast Counterspell. In response, my opponent cast Spell Pierce. So I'm thinking, oh, this motherfucker. I got you. So I cast Counterspell, targeting a Spell Pierce. Matt and Will, what's the converted mana cost on Counterspell?
2.
think it's
2? Oh,
yeah.
okay. Did you have to check a calculator? Because I sure did.
Yeah,
How much mana do you have to pay in order? With Spell Pierce, how much mana do you have to pay?
2.
2.
I threw a card in the sewer for no reason.
My play happened on day 2 of GP or SCG Charlotte this year. And I have this history of doing really well in day 1 and then literally just falling apart day 2. And like I was trying to fix this and I was like, okay, I think we have it. I think we have it. I feel confident. Let's go in here. And this guy casts a Chalice of the Void on me. I'm playing Rhinos. I go in response, what is it? Force negation it. And he goes in response, Dovin's Veto, and I go, haha, Mystical Dispute. Oh wait. I go, yep, that's a legal thing I can do.
Yep, that resolves.
Yep, and I went womp womp, and then proceeded to win. I think I went 3-3 in day 2. My only wins was I went 2-1. I think it was 5 rounds. Yeah. And then another day 2 story, I was the RC in Dallas. I literally crawled my way into day 2. I had to 6-0 I had to 5. No, I had 6-0. I had to 6-0 to make it into day 2, and I managed to do it. And I'm like, all right, let's see if we can do well here. I can't drop a game, and I'm playing Rakdos mid range. The person's playing in Spirits. He has a Mausoleum Wanderer on the field, and I'm like, okay, I think we need to kill this thing. I'm going to stomp the Mausoleum Wanderer. He goes, okay, in response, sack it, counter unless you pay 2, and I go, I'm gonna pay the 2. So my bone crusher my bone crusher goes to Adventure, and I'm like, wait a minute. So I drop and go play Legacy in about 20 more minutes after that. So yeah, so yeah, that's a little bit about, okay, I'm unstoppable day 1, but day 2 you might as well you're playing the MTG Easy Bot or whatever.
Sparky.
Yeah, you're playing little Sparky or just any of that.
Well, since we're kind of sharing our punt stories, I think I've got to share mine most infamous one. Mine was the team tournament in Detroit. My did something cool move. So I was playing Jun. This was way back in the day when Jun mid-range was still viable. And I was playing against Living End. And my hand was like Kolaghan's Command. Oh, I can't remember exactly what my hand was. It has 2 Tarmogoyfs and 2 Kolaghan's Command in. That's the key. That's the key.
Important part.
That's the important part. So he starts with Leyline of the Void. No, I start with like triple Leyline of the Void in my hand. It was like an amazing start. So I start off with Leylines in play, and then it gets to where I have turn 2 Goyf, but it's a 0-1 because there's nothing in the yard except, or maybe it's a 1-2 because I think maybe I fetched. So it's nowhere near a realistic clock. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to cast this Kolaghan's Command, and I'm going to choose myself to discard a card to grow the Tarmogoyf to make it so that I can have a faster clock. So I lean over, and my last words of that show my pride before my fall was, I'm going to do something cool. So at the end of his turn, I cast Kolaghan's Command, and I said, deal 2 damage to you. My door just fell down. Give me 1 second.
Probably your teammate kicking the door down, angry at you because of what you just did.
That's good content. We're keeping that in the video. Matt's door is now a regular member of Southrn MTG.
So I'll go ahead and finish this story since Matt's fixing his door. Because I was the teammate, one of the teammates that had experienced this. Matt says, I'm about to do something cool. He does 2 damage to him and makes him discard a card. And we're thinking, oh, he's going to discard the Tarmogoyf to grow it to a 3/4. But he then discards the Kolaghan's command. And we're like, why did you do that? He's like, so that way I have an instant in the yard. And we go, all right, resolve Kolaghan's command real quick. And he goes, oh.
Yeah. I realized the second I did that, I was like, oh my goodness.
The cool thing was we got to have pizza about 2 hours later. So,
and what was the opponent's life total at the end again? Wasn't it 2?
2. It was 2.
Yeah, it was 2. They ended up just getting enough mana that they were casting their dumb big idiots. This was back before Force of Negation and all that, when they were running like the capybara or whatever the thing is, the
ingot chewers and
the stupid red-black ones and all that. You know.
Oh man, yeah. That's I've often said I'm going to get K command tattooed on me somewhere, like get like a prison tattoo or something. Have it say like K-command like on my around here somewhere.
So, as a group, and as you know, as what we're doing here with SouthrnMagic, obviously, if our viewers have been watching, we do a lot of different competitive formats. We do Pioneer, we do Legacy, we do Modern, we do. We have other formats listed. We run Historic on Arena sometimes. Why not Commander? And I figured that would be a great opportunity to explain why we don't do Commander.
So, I don't mind Commander as a format. I see it as very casual, which is fine. The reason I don't like Commander is because I feel like in the one-on-one formats, like if I sit across from Matt and I don't know him, like I can make small talk, we'll play our game or whatever. Let's say, for example, it's us 3 that are playing a game, and I see, Joe Schmo that's just sitting there, like, looking at his deck. I go, hey, my name's Will. We're about to start a Commander game. Do you want to play or whatever? And they go, yeah, sure. Why not? They'll come over and they'll get in the pod, and then they usually will start targeting me because I'm the only one that they know. So they'll just start attacking me. I'm like, what are you even doing? Like this person is about to win the game. It's like, I don't know his name. That's the reason they don't start attacking.
Oh no, he cast a Commander Sphere. Kill that bastard.
Yeah, it's just like, I'm sitting here, I've cast a Kodama's Reach and Sol Ring, and Matt has Mausoleum Wanderer on the field, and he'll have like Joda on the field, and he just like enlightened or tutored for some crazy spell, and he's like, okay, well, he's got a lot of mana, so he could do something. And it's just like the politics and all that is just weird. Now, I do like playing it with a full pod, but I just kind of like hanging out while doing that. Just like, if we're just chilling out and just watching like the game, like a football game or something like that, and we want something else to do while we're watching it, to play Commander that way. I usually sync my dual lands in there to hide it from me so I don't sell them later. That's something I just hide them from myself. Yeah, I just hide them from myself. But I don't know, the team ups I don't really like as much. I do feel like in the game you just kind of have to hide for a bit and then you go off. Like it's kind of hard to, just present your board and then yeah. I feel like, you got 3-on-1 for a little bit for some things that you play.
Mm-hmm. Matt just cast Demonic Consultation. Matt just cast Mystical Tutor, putting Demonic Consultation on the top of his deck. But that's Will.
Exactly. That's what some of it is. It's like some of the logic is flawed. There's also like the politics is kind of rough too. For example, did you know in Commander, let's say that it's us 4 or whatever. Let's say that Josh is playing a game-ending spell. Like he is about to win it. He's playing like Expropriate or something. He has no cards in hand. So the order it goes is circular. Mm-hmm. Matt sees that I am a blue player. I have 5 cards in hand. And basically, what is it? What's the best way to explain? Yeah,
Matt
you
doesn't
have
want to use his resources and would rather you use them to
that
deal
is
with that.
one. That is one. The other thing is Matt can talk to me and say, "Okay, I have an answer to this, but I want you to tap all of your mana, or else I'm not going to answer it." Because that is an actual thing that you can do. You can say, in response, float 5 mana, good. And then Matt's like, all right, I'm going to do something about it.
I have not heard of that interact. I mean, yeah, it makes sense. You can ask that. It's just I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
And just imagine that on a battlefield, like in real life, like Napoleon is going to war with Russia and all these other people, like England, and it's like, hold on a second, you do this. Like, it would never happen. But
yeah, it's like stuff like that. It's like I don't know. It's like, let's say that you've just cast a fourth Aerolingus for like 80 or something like that. You're about to swing out and then Matt just brainstorms in response and hits a Terminus, and he goes, okay, I will cast this Terminus, but I need all of you to tap out, or else I'm just gonna let it hit us. It's like, why would you do that? And it's just stupid stuff like that. It's just stupid stuff like that.
An external factor disrupts
the
gameplay.
Yeah, and then there's always the players. There's always the players that go, oh, my deck's a 6 or something, and they kill you turn 3. And it's like, no, it normally doesn't do this. It just sometimes makes 11 Displacer Kittens at instant speed on turn 3.
A 6 in dog years.
Yeah,
it's a 6 in dog years. They go, it's just a 6. They go turn 1 Mana Crypt Soul Ring, and it's like the Judge promo Soul Ring. It's like Soul Ring Mana Crypt turn 1. Fucking Zur the Enchanter. Turn 1 Heuristic Study. It's like, oh my god, we're playing vintage now.
There's less chance of having people that are going to make decks to just make the game prolong. Like, I love making like modern decks for fun, standard decks for fun, all that stuff. But like, it's the ones that like are in the pod and they're playing turn 1 Winter Orb or something like that, and they're just like,
this is fun.
Yeah, it's like I just don't want to do this.
the expectations of what the game should be are just in a blender when you're like trying to find somebody to play with. Like if
I'm looking to play Commander, I'm looking to do it with people that I know.
It's like the same with drinking. I want to be with people I like, and just I'm doing this to pass time. I'm doing this to enjoy time with friends. For me personally, let me preface this with, if you enjoy Commander, if Commander is your favorite format, and it is what you look forward to do and look forward to play at the end of every week on a Friday at your local game store, that is awesome. And I'm not even being condescending when I say that. That is awesome. The best part about Magic is there is no, unless you're cheating, there is no incorrect way to play this game. You play the game the way you enjoy playing it. And if playing Commander with friends or just random people is what you enjoy doing, do it. But there are aspects of it that I don't like. And it comes down to 3 things. The first aspect of Commander is with competitive Magic. If I was to go up to a table and let's say I didn't know anything about the game of Magic, and I just started spectating a match, a competitive Magic match, and I told them and I look at a person, I say, what is the objective of your deck after the game, of course? And let's say they're scam, red-black scam. They tell me their mid-range deck, they're trying to grind out value, and if they can't, they'll cheese out a Fury or a Grief and kind of milk that to the finish line. And then I look at them and I go, okay, well, what's the objective of your deck? And eventually, once you go down that rabbit hole, they're going to look at you and they're going to say, to win. Because in competitive Magic, the goal is to win. If you go to your local LGS and you go to a pod of 4 or 5 people playing Commander, and you ask one of them to go, hey, what's the objective of that? What's the objective? I'm not asking them how to play. Obviously, you're at formula, try to get 0, etc. I'm asking, what's the objective? You will get 5 different answers because there is an extreme, I don't want to say extreme, but there is a very palpable conflict of interest in Commander. There are some players who want to play to win. There are some players who want to play their meme deck. There are some players that want to play their tribal deck. There are some players who want to build a deck just so a single spell will resolve. And the problem is, in a 4 or 5 player game, not everyone's needs are going to get met. Not everyone's going to be happy. Someone's going to get just destroyed. They're going to get shit on because someone had a nutty hand, or they're not going to draw that spell. They might get mana screw, mana flood. That sucks across all.
And that's where the friction starts too, isn't it?
Yeah, and someone's going to end up, I don't want to say angry because it's a card game, but someone's going to walk away with a bitter taste in their mouth. And in competitive Magic, and I know CDH is a subset of that, but that's a top for another time. But in competitive Magic, we kind of nip that in the bud. We kind of say, we are playing to win. If you don't have a fun time, I am sorry, but I can only worry about myself. And that is established at the beginning. They literally tell you at competitive events that your opponent may not have your best interest in mind. And that's because you are playing to win. You are playing for yourself. So that's the first reason. The second reason, I'm going to move on faster because I know we have a lot of topics. But second reason is, as a competitive player, we have a ban list. And the ban list, I know a lot of people like to meme and joke about it, but the ban list is, I would say it's fairly robust among formats. I mean, the really criminal cards, the ones that are just egregious to the format, like in Modern, you have your Hogax, you have your Skull Clamps, KCI, you have all these cards that were really detrimental to the format, or would be detrimental to the format moving forward. They're banned. And obviously, we have cards that we don't like and that are annoying and some that we virtually hate at this point. But do they need to be banned? Maybe, but I mean, that's not just stopping people from playing the game. In Commander, the ban list is ran by the Commander Rules Committee, or Commander, whatever they call them. I think they're Commander Rules Committee, whatever. And the ban list in Commander is kind of ridiculous because it's a hodgepodge of cards that are too good, but it's also a mix of cards that are just unfun. And that is an extremely subjective thing. Okay, we're talking about a format where, in a casual sense, you can play cards like Food Chain, you can play cards like Cyclonic Rift, and for all I know, there's been so much power creep that people are going to listen to this and be like, oh, that's not even that busted. But it's like, if people were actually trying to win, it would be. All the mana rocks, like Soul Ring, and I know that's like a meme at this point, like Soul Ring's legal, but there are so many cards that are legal that probably shouldn't be, and there are cards that are banned that absolutely should not be banned. Like Biorhythm is banned in Commander. And that is it's pretty hilarious because you can't cast Biorhythm, but you can cast Cyclonic Rift. You can cast Expropriate. I'm pretty sure that's going to win the game. So the ban list isn't really robust. And the third reason I don't like Commander as it currently stands is it's become extremely, and again, I don't want to use extremely because that's the wrong word, but it's become very saturated. The format used to be, and I'm going to steal a phrase from you, Matt, because you used this before, and I really liked it. Commander at one point, and I'm not trying to be the old man that yells at clouds here, but Commander in its inception, yes, it was before they even had precons. It was a game made for players by players, and it was a format where you could take your little, this is your phrase, Matt, where you could take your little island of misfit toys Magic cards and give them use. And when you crack open a draft pack and you see this 8 mana unplayable card, but it does something spectacular. And you're like, oh my God, this will be great by draft deck. And then you go 0-3 drop. Commander used to be the home for those. And I'm sure in some very niche corner case deck, it will be, or it could be. But Commander used to be that. Now Commander has become so saturated, and they've come out with so many different products every year that it's become to the point where it's become objectively correct and incorrect to put a card or to not put a card in a deck. And because it's become so streamlined. And in Commander right now, there's so much product. There's so many with every set. It used to be once a year. In every set, there's new Commander products. And luckily, they haven't been too powerful. They haven't been too overpowered. But every now and then, they'll sprinkle in one card that fits and slots perfectly into one strategy. And now every deck runs that. Every red deck, most of them at least, run Dockside Extortionist. every blue deck that I know, for the most part, runs Cyclonic Rift. And Cyclonic Rift was printed in an actual set, so that gets a pass. But you see where I'm getting. You see where I'm getting at. Every now and then they'll put in a card that's just so supplemental to a deck where it's correct to put it in your deck, and it's almost incorrect to not put it in your deck. Mm-hmm. So Commander has become it's a format that's become so streamlined that you don't stand a chance against some players who play their 6 or 7 power level deck at your local game store. But at the same time, the ban list is just so lackluster that people are going to get away with it forever. And on top of that, people on YouTube and different podcasts, they've said, well, the way to establish that, the way to nip that in the bud is at the beginning, you go, what are our objectives here? Do we want to play or do we want to win? But as I stated before, that's not good enough a lot of the time because someone wants to play their mono white cat tribal deck and they want to do a certain thing. They want to cast a certain spell. And saying, do you want to play or do we want to play or do we just want to win at the beginning of the game, I don't think is sufficient enough, at least for me. And so that's why I've kind of stepped away from the format and gotten more into competitive. And again, I know it seems like I'm just poo-pooing on the format, and I'm not. I think Commander is a great format for Magic. I would not be here if it weren't for Commander, but there are aspects that kind of leave a little sour taste in my mouth, and I've just I really only play it with my dad. I've really come to find out really only play it to spend time with my dad because he's the one who taught me how to play the game, and I want to spend as much time with him as possible.
That's the problem, though, isn't it? That's the inherent problem. Is basically what you said. Is you have this arms race going on with Commander where the average deck nowadays that somebody, any given person in a card shop is going to be walking around with, the power level of that thing is going to be so much higher than any average deck was, 5, 6, 7 years ago. Basically before Magic started regularly printing Commander specific sets. Excuse me. And so to combat that, as you said, everybody just gets more and more like, okay, well, if the LGS is going to have 15 people playing Fierce Guardianship, Thassa's Oracle combo or whatever, you instinctively, just to keep up with that, you're going to make your deck more powerful too. And then you run into the exact problem where you're the problem now because you're going to play in a pod with somebody who just has their little, bug tribal deck or whatever, and they just won't play, and suddenly you're the pub stomper. So it's just it is a problem that I have yet to see any solid resolution to. It's just, unless you're playing with people that like your friends, I just don't find it enjoyable. Like I enjoy playing EDH with people that I know and people that I'm friends with. I have never enjoyed going into a card store and, find like some random people say, hey, we've got a pod over here. Do you want to join in? I've never enjoyed it. I've never had, I've plenty of times I've not had a bad time, but I've never been like, oh, this is so much more fun than, hanging out with my friends and playing Commander or whatever.
I will say, it's not that I don't like Commander. It's more that I just like the 1v1 experience more. And we've kind of talked about it before, like when we hang out, IRL and all that. Like if we're all hanging out and it's like, we don't usually even just play Commander. We usually just run games of 1v1s. We kind of like, I mean, it might just be because, we have a competitive spirit and all that, but like, usually if it's like 4 of us hanging out, like Josh is like, hey, you want to play Legacy real quick? I was like, yeah, sure. So we'll play, and then usually Matt and whoever else is there will watch us and be like, hey, why'd you do this or whatever, and actually give us pointers.
Trying to get better.
Yeah, and with Commander and all that stuff, it's just I don't know. I don't see myself getting better at it or wanting to get better at it. So I don't know. There's never been a time that I've been playing my Kenrith Enchantress EDH deck where I'm just like, yeah, I want to play in this pod so I can learn the deck more and, get better with it or whatever. So it's more of just, all right, I got this pile of cards. I want to just shuffle this together. I want to play it. If it does this thing, it does this thing. So
yeah, and like because in competitive Magic, the conflict of interest is one, and that is one player, or I guess technically two, if you want to be specific. But you have two people. One of them wants only one can win.
mm-hmm.
In competitive Magic, you have at least five, assuming it's a 4-player pod. Each player's individual wants of the game, and then I guess technically it's even 9 because each individual person's wanting to win or wanting to do what their deck is built to do, and everyone wants to win. So it's like someone's gonna walk away kind of upset, and upset's a strong word, but someone's gonna walk away with a little bitterness, a little twinge of bitterness. Whereas Magic, it's like we're nipping that in the bud from the beginning. We're playing to win. If you lose, that stinks, but just shuffle up and play. And to what Will said, I typically feel after a game of Commander, like probably an hour game of Commander, I just think to myself, man, I could have played so much Legacy and so much Modern in that time span.
Yeah, I think those are great reasons. But I don't want it to seem like we're just completely blasting Commander. If that is your jam, do it. That's awesome. But I just think that nowadays it is so much easier to find Commander content than it was back in the day. That it used to be like competitive content was all over the place. And Commander was the minority thing. We've seen a shift now where Commander is the de facto way to play Magic nowadays. They've completely shifted their way into marketing marketing Commander as their primary jumping into point for playing Magic, and competitive has just kind of sat on the back burner or been pushed to the back burner. And we've also seen that with content, with digital content, like the Command Zone is one of the biggest YouTube channels for Magic in the world. I mean, and their content is amazing. I am not downing them at all. Like, it's very well produced and it's very just professionally done. So no hate to them at all for what they've done. But that, Commander's Quarters, MTG Goldfish, like they touch on competitive a lot, but it's primarily, I would say,
usually jank.
Commander versus on Star City Games, like it's so much of it is Commander centric. So what we're trying to do is offer a alternative to, if you want to consume Magic content, to either stay up to date with current events in Magic, or get better at the game by listening to different opinions on it, going over decks, everything that we said before. We want to be that for you, and just give you another way to enjoy Magic content. Well, we're just about to start wrapping up this episode, because I think we've been going for at least an hour, maybe a little bit more. So just to kind of recap what we've done so far, because our channel is this group is still very young. We're still in our infancy in a lot of ways, and we're trying to figure out, what kind of content to put out. We're just kind of putting everything out there, and we've already had some pretty cool successes. Mr. Will here had a amazing run with Team of Rhinos earlier in the week. Do you want to share any details on that?
Yeah, so basically, we were trying to put content out every day, and I did a league with 8cast, and this was my first time ever playing MTGO, and I went 3-2, so I was like, okay, this feels pretty good. Let's try out a deck that 8cast I know deck really well in Legacy, so I was like, okay, let's try Modern out, because I have an RCQ the next day, so let's go ahead and get some testing with this and see how this goes. So I do Rhinos. Explain the deck, and then I end up having the weirdest league of my life, or weirdest 5 matches of my life. So this is, last week, what was it, like September 20, was it September 22nd? Yeah, September 22nd. I play of 2023. My first round is against Gift Storm, and I beat them 2-1. My next round is against Infect, where they go turn 1 Noble Hierarch, and I kill it, and they concede. And I'm like, all right, cool. And then
you had a Robin Williams from Jumanji moment.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
year is it?
So then we go to the next game, and he goes turn 1 Noble, and I draw the dead guy, and I'm like, all right, kill it. And he goes, okay, turn 2 Glistener Elf, and I go, all right, kill it. And then he concedes. I'm like, all right, cool, no, another 2-0. Then round 3, I play against Mill, and I go, all right, well, this is going to be easy because he tashes Hideous Laughter and hit like 3 Lorien reveals and a Murktide on one. And I was like, you just paid all your mana to mill me for 4. That's awesome. You're dead now. But then so I 2-0 them. Game 1, that's literally what happened. They did that, and then I killed them. And then game 2, I keep a hand with endurance in there, and I just win because they wasted a counter spell on something, and I just endurance myself, and they leave. Then I play against a real, well, they're all real decks, but I play against the deck that you would see in a normal match, which is Living In, which is normally a horrible matchup, where they draw all 3 Living Ins game 1. And then game 2, I have another double endurance hand. I get them. So I'm like, oh my god, I'm about to 5-0. I have 1 match left. So let's just calm down. Let's calm down and see what we're about to play. And I play against, modern all-star deck, Grixis Fairies, where they play, I don't even know the name of the card. It's from Wilds of Eldraine. It comes in tapped with 3 stun counters on it. It's a 3/3.
Oh, sleep
Sleep Stutter Sprite or something like that. Yep.
Yeah, something with sleep in it.
Yeah. So, and then they miss their second land drop, and I'm like, oh, all right, let's go. And then game 2, they play Bitter Blossom, and I'm like, ooh, my cards have trample, and yours don't. Oh, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
The final stack was, there was a Violent Outburst on the stack. They go Counterspell. I go Force the Negation. They go Spell Stutter Sprite, and I go Subtlety. And then the screen goes away, and I got a trophy. So the second league I've ever ran, I 5-0'd. So it felt really good. And the best part about it was, I was trying this out to do it for an RCQ. I take it to the RCQ, and I go 6-0-2. I literally win the entire thing with it. I went 3-0-2 in Swiss, so I won the first 3 and then double drew in, and then I won my way into the finals. Got there. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
the best the best tournaments are the ones where you just feel invincible.
Yeah.
You just the deck. There's been moments where I've played decks where it's like I felt like the deck was better than me.
Yeah.
Just like, it's gonna figure it out.
Mhm.
I don't know how it's gonna happen, but we will find a way.
Yep, made some edits, and the funny part was I was trying to play 4 subtleties, and I ended up not having them, so I had 3, and then I played a Brazen Bar, and the Brazen Bar won me 3 games.
You guys had Brazen Bar a lot that day.
Yeah, it's like, all right, well, this card's just like, there was some times where I just needed a Petty Theft, and I got the Petty Theft, and then there was some times where I just needed a creature on turn 3, and I had a creature on turn 3. Like, this is sick.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and the Rhinos, that deck only listens to you apparently too, because I took it to an RCQ the following day and just got obliterated because.
I was hoping to see you the other day. I showed up late just to check out the room, see how the room was doing, and I thought you'd be there. And I was like, I looked at Grant and I was like, Matt not here. He goes, oh, he was. And I was like, oh, poor guy.
Yeah, I game 1 played against 5 color, 4 color, whatever Omnath, and the guy had Teferi on turn 3.
And they do that.
every single game,
Uh-huh.
all 2 of them, and
Yep.
yeah, it was just.
I am better.
And then the next round was Titan. I just couldn't get anything going. So yeah, it was not good for me that day. But I'm glad that you were able to go the distance twice with it, with the RCQ and the 5-0 though.
Yeah, we'll see how it does in Dallas. I'm thinking about when we go to Eternal Weekend. I'm thinking about actually playing Rhinos. I'm gonna work on getting all the cards ready and possibly running the league with it because I'm good with it in Modern. Obviously, like I've done all right with it. So it's like, well, we should try this for Legacy and see how Eternal Weekend goes.
Oh
So,
yeah, no, I'm so excited for that.
yep.
We'll have to do maybe like a legacy or centric episode or something leading up to Eternal Weekend for anybody planning on attending.
Yep.
But yeah, so that is the Rhinos report for the past weekend. And Josh, you said tomorrow you're streaming. Do you know what you're
Yes,
streaming yet? Not or not?
I do. For all of you fish players, merfolk players, the 2 of you out there. I'm just kidding. There's gonna be a bunch of you just to see my beautiful face. But yes, me and a good friend of mine, Drew, who you guys will get acquainted to on this channel. We will be playing merfolk, and I'm so glad Drew will be holding my hand across the finish line because for 2 reasons. One, Drew might be the strongest merfolk player that I know. He definitely is the strongest player that I know, and might be the strongest merfolk player there is, and I'm not joking when I say that. I'm so serious. And 2, because I know little to nothing about merfolk. So it'll be fun. You will see a lot of punts. You will see some misclicks. You will see angry Josh.
You can
But
draw some of these.
yeah, I will draw a bunch of Dave & Buster's gift cards.
Mhm.
But I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Excellent. And that is and by the time you're listening to this episode, it should be Monday. So happy Monday to anyone listening to this. Hope your job or your commute is going okay. Hope your weekend was all right. And that will be streaming Monday evening. So if you're listening to this and you have time to check that out on Monday, October 2nd, you can hit us up on Twitch, SouthrnMagic.twitch.tv.com, I believe that is, and that's Southern without the E, which you can obviously just look at the title of the podcast and get that as well. But we try to stream every day if we can. So come by and check that out. That'll be awesome. So I think we're going to wrap it up there. So as I said, the Twitch channel, that's our primary content that we try to put out, is streaming every day, leagues or challenges or just MTG Arena, whatever it is, some kind of Magic content. We also have a YouTube channel under the same name and a TikTok. I don't know why I said that like a boomer just then.
A TikTok.
We're on the TikTok.
Uh-huh.
So come check that out. And also, I almost forgot to mention, if you have any questions or comments or have something that you would like to like for us to discuss in going forward, starting next week's episode, we're actually going to be doing a mailbag portion. So we're going to have an email address that I'm going to include in the description down below. If you're seeing this on YouTube, it'll be in the description. If you see this on Spotify, if you're an audio listener, you should see that in the description of the podcast as well. So just send us a quick email, just include in the subject line podcast question or podcast comment. Mention the podcast in some way in the line, and we'll try to get to that and discuss it. And with all that being said, I believe there was a something that you wanted to add at the very end, Josh, if you want to go over that.
Sure. We talk a lot of this, but at the end of the day, the best part about Magic is the gathering. So take care of yourself. Take care of each other. We'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Good night. Bye bye. Have a good day at work.